In the bottom left, playing Wulfar, and of course, M0h1nder. If Wulfar is available, you're gonna see them play Wulfar versus Atreides playing Sedge up at the top.
Interesting pick. This is an interesting matchup for sure. Sedge definitely has the long-term game plan, but Wulfar has some maybe early rush potential. So it's probably gonna end up that way.
Yeah, and ooh, I think one thing we're seeing right here, and you can kind of, although maybe we'll see a heal off of this. No, I think this is like a sign that Atreides is a bit nearer. They go for that tower grab.
Ah, I see. So they went for the tower first instead of a village.
Yeah, and that slows
Um,
down commander progression just a little bit.
I think it's potentially fine. This is actually something I was considering doing. Okay, but that retreat and heal is a bit suspect.
Yeah,
But early tower is something I was considering during group of war because it does allow you to buy early harpy, which is sometimes relevant as they just did, and also because it's kind of on the way anyway. Like in practice, you only sacrifice 100 gold.
okay, Harpy's coming forwards. I mean, I'm interested to see, because, like, one thing is, when people come in from other communities, you'll see them do some stuff that's kind of a bit, you could say, non-standard.
Yep.
And, like, a lot of the time it doesn't work out, but sometimes people will come up with something and it will work, and you'll be like, that is really interesting. Like, seeing
Yeah,
people
for
come up
sure.
with a new approach.
It's
So,
interesting that M0h1nder has chosen to completely not go for knights, really. Though I guess that's because Atreides went for the early harpy, so you wouldn't want to build knights after that. And
yeah,
actually, picking up that mage was pretty big from Atreides. And all this aggression, wow, they're doing a lot of damage to M0h1nder for sure.
yeah. There's just, like, a couple things you can see which are very, stuff that, like, Wargroove players would do differently, just through experience. Things like there's a spear loaded up in the balloon at the end of the turn, and generally you don't leave things loaded into transports, just because.
Because like you could always do it next turn if you don't do it this turn.
Yeah,
So overall, some suboptimal stuff, but not like it's a huge deal. It's still fairly even overall.
yeah, and yeah, we're seeing them knock down villages. A little unfortunate on the timing. Sedge isn't going to be able to knock down the villages himself. Ooh, we're
Hmm.
seeing Groove get used. Is that going to be punted? Yep, to damage Sedge, and oh, there's a lot of damage to the Harpy actually.
Just grew for value just makes sense. It's not like I think it will be rather difficult to get a better groove.
Yeah. Ooh, this is an interesting bait. Like, you could potentially see Sedge try and go for one of these dogs. And Sedge will die if he does that, so we're gonna see.
Yeah, it's looking very iffy if oh, and they do go for it.
Ooh.
Okay. Okay, this could potentially still live, but it requires some very specific follow-up, I think.
Yeah, like the sword crit on the mage I think is kind of a must. And then like other units to surround. Alright, sword crit comes in. Nicely done. RP gets healed up. The
I
damage on
think,
Wulfar might be enough to keep them alive, but
well, you have made shield this turn, so I guess, okay, maybe it's still alive. Ah, okay, so
right, yeah.
it's probably alive. Yeah, which is why M0h1nder didn't go for it.
Yeah, M0h1nder just goes for the army damage instead. Makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Um,
There's no reason to risk going in. Actually, because Wulfar would be incredibly vulnerable to getting killed on a counter attack there as well. So,
yeah, and Treaties has two harpies, so I can honestly say it's the first time I've seen someone build two harpies on this map.
but there's no anti-air. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a good play. It's because there is no anti-air.
yep. And it actually goes for the witch as a response to the dragon. And there's a witch over on the side of M0h1nder as well, so the harpies alone won't clear up that dragon.
Well, I mean, yeah. So they do have Groove now. It's gonna be like quite annoying for M0h1nder to deal with this. Although M0h1nder has really good pressure against Sedge at the moment. Sedge is probably just gonna have to run all the way back. Oh, and they go for a surround. I mean, that's not gonna work because Sedge can just groove that, but
Yeah, like the sword hits the wagon and it gets... Oh, you do kind of sacrifice the sword to do that, but... Alright, we're gonna
I
see the
mean, it's straight.
Sadistic Rush come in.
Okay, and the chain starts.
And it just damages the
Oh,
mage a little.
interesting. Oh, and they run back. Okay, fair enough. Um, Damaging the mage means the mage can't pick off the harpy, although I imagine M0h1nder will just use their witch to pick it off instead. That although that mage behind is in position to punish, I guess, but it can easily block it off. So overall, it looks like kind of a free harpy.
Yeah, that...
Oh, never mind. Heals the mage and uses that to take out the.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, M0h1nder's just
sure.
kind of gonna go for a kind of grindy win now. They got plenty of time on
Yeah,
the clock. They're ahead on income. I think their army's a bit stronger.
yeah. Sedge is really hurting because he doesn't have enough unit count now. And Sedge needs like to not fall that far behind in army unit count before, in order for his groove to be effective.
Yeah, and also needs the right units. Like, there's no archers to support here, which makes a big difference for Sedge specifically. Things like being able to, like, an archer could go in, hit that sword, for example, and
Yeah.
that all of a sudden opens up a nice chain.
Oh, a lot of damage gonna be done on this turn. I think this might be decisive.
Yeah, and the mage has enough health that it can pick off the harpy, and ooh, nice sword use.
Nice value groove.
Oh, and the hex as well, just to pick off that mage.
Nice. Okay, that really makes Wulfar a lot more safe to. Okay, well, he's definitely super safe now.
Oh yeah. And I love just like that low health uh thief just kind of existing, threatening those corner
Hmm.
villages.
I mean, Sedge could potentially have done a lot here, but he did have groove up, but I think it's a bit too late now in the turn. Like a lot of the units have gotten used already. It's not really
Yeah.
gonna do much at this stage.
And I'm very curious about sacking these dogs just to try and kill this mage.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that. Witch hitting the witch is typically not that great a move because the enemy witch survives and it will hex you every turn after that.
Yeah, and there's mages to back up. Even just dropping mage heals on the witch seems to have been pretty
Or just
effective.
chooses to just kill the dragon, makes sense.
Oh, that's such a good move. Mine's playing this really well, actually. Like, I
Yeah,
know we've been
just
focusing on
very
like Atreides play with Sedge, but Mine's just playing really solid.
yeah. It's like for sure. Making good use of army composition, picking off the opponent's counters. The Steve is probably safe.
Even if it isn't, it's still forcing actions out. And yeah, I think Atreides just
Oh, yeah,
realizes
it's designs.
they're behind, which, from what I understand, is another Advanced Wars thing. Of like, if you recognize you can't come back, then I think it's far more common in Advanced Wars for people to just resign when they realize they're not in a winning position. In Wargroove, there's always the potential for lethal.
Right. But here I think it was like, even a Wargroove player would probably resign at that stage.
That's true. Some people would just play it out, but yeah.
Some people, yeah.
So it's very interesting. Like, there are some cool ideas in there. I actually really like the use of harpies. Um, I actually think he played that quite well using those. Um, there was just some other things that were a little bit questionable, and a bit suboptimal. But you know, if you're doing suboptimal plays and you're still having good ideas, then once you like, you know, figure more things out and improve, then suddenly your like interesting ideas become like quite scary later on.
Definitely.
And M0h1nder saying this was their first ever PvP Wargroove match. I did not
Wow,
play this
that's
well when I played my first Wargroove match.
for sure, for
I
sure.
think a lot of
It's,
people didn't.
it's
So
a very, very strong showing for the first game.
yeah, I mean we've seen matches between two experienced players that have been far more one-sided than this. So uh, someone coming in new and doing this well in their first ever like game playing against another person, like this is actually really quite impressive.
It is, yeah.
So I'm very interested to see how well Atreides is going to be playing in the later rounds because you know we've got effectively 2 more months of this event, so
Hmm.
I'm curious to see how they're going to be playing, like in you know not just this round, but you know rounds 3 and 4. But well
Yeah.
played. I enjoyed that a lot actually. We get another game from them, and I think there was actually a time gap between these two games. So, actually no, it was just a day. So it looked like there was more, but no, it was just a lot of people reporting matches that day. Okay, we're gonna go into game two. We're gonna see how this set finishes.